Okay.
Boom, baby! Oh my god! What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division build video. Today we are going to talk about the build that lets you do this. Hold in.
Overcharging. No. He dead. Okay.
But before we get started, please hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, hit the bell so you are notified when I upload more Division videos, or come on over to Twitch. I could be streaming live right now, and hit that follow button. And if you need a community Discord, there has never been a better time to join. You'll find the link down below in the description. There is nothing more satisfying in this game right now than taking an entire raid boss down really quickly, and especially when you can do it with one pistol shot. Now, I'm going to show the build for this. There is different variations of this build depending on which boss it is that you are doing, and I'll mention that as we go through because the weapons do change a little bit. So first of all, for Lieutenant Grey, this was the build that I used. Now, the demo class has got rifle and pistol damage spec. The pistol is the most important. That's what's outputting all of the damage here. And for Lieutenant Grey, you want a really fast firing gun for your other primary weapon, just so that you can make sure you've got your Negotiator crit on him before you move on to building your stacks with the Regulus. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, I will talk you through that in just a second. For instance, if you was doing the second boss in Iron Horse, Pfizer, you could choose to use an assault rifle or a rifle. You can mix that up a little bit as well. That has to be a little bit more precise, so I find it a little bit easier with an M1A. But again, it's all about just making sure you get a crit chance shot in and you can get them Negotiators stacked on the boss, because that's what transfers the damage. Alright, so we're talking enough technical stuff there. Let's move on to the actual build. So the Ravenous is the king here. This is what you really need, and if you've not got one of these yet, feel free to hop on over to Twitch. You can catch me there streaming. I could be streaming live right now, and we can help you out through the Iron Horse raid and get you one of these bad boys. Hopefully we open the box for you and drop it if we get it. Now, as you can see here, this one is maxed out, but it's all about this talent. The Jerry and Frecky. On trigger pull, fire both barrels at once. When fired from the right shoulder, hits add an offensive primer, and a defensive primers when fired from the left shoulder. And what you'll notice, I'm firing from the left shoulder. Hits from one shoulder will detonate all of the opposite shoulder's primers when present. So what you'll see is I'll build 6 up, flick over to my other shoulder, fire one shot, and then if you want to carry on stacking, you build another 6 up on the defensive side. When detonated, each offensive primer deals 100% weapon damage, while each defensive primer grants you 4% bonus armor and 10% amplified damage to armor plates for 5 seconds. And that is the part that is very important. The primer effectiveness is doubled at 10 stacks. Okay, so lovely and jubbly. Then we'll look at the pistol. A D50, you want damage to target out of cover, and you want flatline. That is going to be optimal. And I'll show you what it is that I do. So we flip over to here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we flick, we detonate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We flick, we detonate. And if it's Razorback, I would do it again. 3, 4, 5, 6. And I would detonate, and then I would flick to my pistol, and I would get the big damage shot with the pistol. I can't show you the big damage numbers in the range. It doesn't work like that here. But you'll see in the clips, I do exactly the same process. Now let's take a look at the rest of the build. First of all, we'll go with the chest piece. We got the gift, oh sorry, the sacrifice, 15% headshot damage from the Providence bonus, weapon damage, headshot, crit chance and crit chance. Perfect glass cannon is the most damage we're going to get from a chest piece for this scenario. And what you need to make sure is you've got this crit chance up. So what's very, very important is when I look at the pistol, that I've got 60% crit chance. Then the holster, again, this is what's going to give you a load of damage for the pistol shot. It's the Dodge City Gunslinger's holster. So weapon damage, weapon handling, and then headshot damage here. While your pistol is holstered, gain a stacking buff every 0.3 seconds up to 100. And you can see that there now. Can you see it just ticking up? If I put the gun away, you'll see it tick up all the way to the end. As you can see there, it's just filling up on the bar. That's how you know you've got max. When you swap to it, your first shot consumes the buff and deals 10% damage per stack. This deals headshot damage to wherever you hit. Okay, so important that you've got headshot damage rolled everywhere. It's just more reliable than having to risk running crit damage and landing the crit. Then we'll look at negotiators. So I'm running 4-piece negotiators. 2-piece gives us crit chance, 3-piece gives us crit damage, and 4-piece gives us the hostile negotiations buff. And this is where the magic happens. Critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds, up to 3 marks in total. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. Whenever a marked enemy dies, gain 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times or until combat ends. Now that's nice, but that's not really what we're here for. We're here about transferring damage. And as you can see, I've got weapon damage, headshot and crit chance rolled on this one. On the gloves, weapon damage, crit chance. And on the knees, weapon damage, headshot damage. Now obviously I need to have crit chance rolled here. Don't forget, I'm not rolling headshot everywhere until I get to 60% crit chance. So that's very, very important you do that first. But then we'll look at the backpack, and there's a reason why we're running the backpack, because it has the critical measures talent on it. Increases hostile negotiations damage from additional marked enemies from 60% all the way up to 100%, which means we can transfer 100% of the damage to any enemies marked by Negotiator's Dilemma. And that's where we get to apply the huge damage that we do. Then for certain situations, we're going to run the Achilles pulse. So for Lieutenant Grey, for instance, for Pfizer, we're going to use that. If it was Razorback, you wouldn't use that. And then for anything else that you want in the other slot, that really doesn't matter. So what I'll do, I'll talk through Lieutenant Grey to give you an example of why this works. So basically with Lieutenant Grey, it depends how you want to do it. There's a couple of ways around doing it. If you're just going to one-man it all yourself, you need someone to give you an overcharge for your pulse. That's very, very important, because not also does that give you the Achilles marks everywhere. It makes it much, much easier for you to hit at that point then, because you've got the Achilles marks absolutely anywhere, and all you need to do is hit one of them. So as you can see here, look, overcharge gives you 5 zones to hit, making it absolutely easy. If you can take an arm or a leg, if you can't quite get the headshot in, it's all about that. So with Lieutenant Grey, if I understand this correctly, when you start the boss fight off, what you need to do is overcharge the ad that comes out on the left or the right hand side. These are the ones that use the mortars. During that time, you're going to build your stacks up, just like I showed you before. You just build your stacks up on the shielded enemy that comes out, and that's fine. But what you've got to make sure you've done beforehand is you shoot and tag the boss. So shoot and tag the boss, it'll be immune, but you make sure you get that red Negotiator's mark on the boss. You're then going to use the shielded enemy to build your stacks up, and then what you're going to do then is Achilles pulse the mortar bad guy, and you're going to shoot him in the head. Now, there's a couple of reasons why that damage will transfer, and you've got to get all that done before the boss drops to the floor. It's a very tight margin if you're unpracticed. I don't get it right 100% of the time. I need more practice at it. But you've got to get it done before he hits the floor. And what you've got to see here is on the Ravenous, 10% amplified damage to armor plates. So because that's an armored enemy and we hit him in the head, it's classed as an armor plate, and that cracks, and then that damage will transfer. But there's something else that's special about armor plates. Although they'll damage upon a certain amount of damage taken, there's actually an infinite amount of damage that you can apply to one. So for instance, a red bar enemy in the game, if you shoot him, he will die when he hits his maximum amount of HP. He has a set amount of HP and he will die. An armor plate doesn't actually have a set amount of HP. It does have a set amount where it will break, but you could hit it for 100 million damage and you will actually hit it for 100 million damage. It won't be capped because it doesn't have a health bar. It'll break because you've gone past the amount of damage needed to break it, but you can apply a huge amount of damage to it, an infinite amount of damage to it as far as I know, and you will then be able to transfer that damage over to any enemy that is tagged with Negotiator's Dilemma. And that's why this works. And it's very specialized to certain raid mechanics. It's not really something you're going to be able to do running around the open world and things like that, although you probably could find some spots, but it's just not going to be efficient to do this anywhere else. So that's why it's very specific to the raid, and it's very set up as well. Like, you've got to do it in certain scenarios. It's easy to have teammates help you as well. Get somebody else to do the Achilles pulse to give you a little bit more time to build your stacks and things like that. So it's not something you're going to running around the world one-shotting everything for. There's cooldowns involved with the holster as well. So, but that is how it works. So just to recap that, so an armor plate has an infinite amount of damage. Although, say it's 100 damage to break it, you can still apply 300 damage to break it, because then obviously it will break, but you will show that you hit for 300 damage. It's not like it's capped when you hit a regular enemy that has a certain amount of health. So you hit a regular enemy, you know, for 1,000 damage with your nemesis, but he only has 500, it would show 500 because you hit him for the maximum damage. An armor plate doesn't have a cap. But hopefully that makes sense, and at that point you can understand then as well you can do the same on Razorback. When his weak points come out, they're classed as armor plates, so that's why we can hit them for insane damage as well. And hopefully then you can think about actually what other raid boss scenarios can you apply that in, because there's other places you can apply it in as well. As for instance, I've shown Pfizer here as well. We use the Chunga for his armor plate and transfer the damage over to the boss. Hopefully that all makes sense. If you wanted to take a quick look at my stat sheet. So at the pistol that matters, you can see 60% crit chance, 65% crit damage, and 185% headshot damage. What is special about this build is that I got a headshot damage on the sacrifice, whereas before usually you would have kind of crit damage on this in most case scenarios. So I had to get a new sacrifice to put this together. But even at 175, I think it was, let's just flip to it. Yeah, I was still one-popping the bosses, so to get to 185 isn't exactly necessary. I'm not sure what the lowest is that is necessary, but I have min-maxed at this build. Any questions? You can direct them to me down below. Many thanks to AJ and Astro from LFN, Speedrunners Extraordinaires. They always drop by the stream and help me out with these kind of things. It wouldn't be possible without them. So many thanks to them. I'll drop their Twitters down below. You can give them a shout out as well. Don't forget to come on over to Twitch and hit subscribe here on the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.